Hello and welcome to the first Extreme Hardware podcast of 2020, episode number 16. Today we have a shorter crew with us. We have the effervescent, ever fizzy Frick Frock.
Yes, hello, it is I.
Joining us. And we have our special guest, Andrew, as well. He's very quiet.
We promise he's there.
Yes.
He's hanging out. He's the man behind the scenes and make sure everything goes smoothly.
Yes.
That's why it never goes smoothly.
He's pulling all the buttons. Pushing all the buttons, pulling all the levers, doing the things.
In fact, if you knew about him, that would mean the show is going horrible.
Glad we introduced him.
Okay. It's gone well.
And I'm your host, as always, Alex. So, CES happened, or is happening, rather. One of the biggest tech conferences, if you want to call it that, or events of the year. And there have been a lot of interesting things coming from that. And I think what better way to kick it off than good old smartphones. Everyone's, favorite thing. But yes, so the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Lite has been announced, as well as an S10 Lite, spelled Lite. And it's very interesting. I don't think Samsung has done this before. They've done E versions of their S lineup as kind of like entry. No, that's Edge.
Yeah, I know there's a couple different versions. They usually have the budget versions, and then they have really tough
versions.
The
J and then the A.
Yeah, ones that are meant for being dropped or kicked around or going diving or stuff.
Yeah, it's getting more confusing, I'll be honest.
What, you think that's confusing? You should see what's going on with some of we'll get into it a little bit later, but there's some variants of, I think it's either Nokia's or another brand in the early 2000s that was when they didn't have names. They just had numbers. So if you didn't know the difference between a 3310 and a 3500, well, you're in trouble.
Yeah, no, that was, I suppose, pretty crazy. So the specs, if you will, I guess, I don't know, of the Lite, it's not super... Oh no, they have been defined, never mind. They both have AMOLED screens still. They're not doing an Apple, if you will, and going LCD on their normal or their lighter version. They have both Android 10 out of the box, a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, which is quite large. Both have USB-C. Only the Note 10 Lite has a headphone jack and the S Pen, obviously. But as far as I'm aware, the camera stack is the same. So, yeah.
The best thing about this is that battery. Dude, the fact that we're actually getting decent batteries now is oh, thank God.
Yeah. I also saw, I think it was Samsung teased a removable battery phone as well. And it's waterproof.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's called the X Cover Pro.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that.
So it's a cover for their phone, or is it a SKU, if you will, of their S10?
Yeah, hang on. I'll throw the link if I can. But basically, it looks like it's a different phone. It's a completely different phone. IP69 mid-range specs. The X Cover Pro is bringing back the company's line of rugged smartphones, but this one has removable plastic slapped onto an existing design. The phone has a removable battery and, it's got never before seen spec. Okay, it's $550 for one thing.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah.
It's nice to be. Sorry, yeah, it's nice to be going back to removable batteries and phones.
Yeah, well, for a while, that was considered something that was on lower-end phones. If you swapped your battery out. I had an old Samsung Behold long time ago, and that was right when, smartphones were coming around, and that had a removable battery. Here's the problem with that, though. The battery kept expanding, constantly. I had to replace that battery, 5 times.
Wow, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Can you think of any benefit to not having a removable battery? Is it a temperature thing? Is it a less likely to fail type of thing? Why would they just not allow you to do that in the first place?
I
Or just
think
waterproofness, but Samsung have proved that wrong because they're bringing out a phone that's waterproof and has a removable battery.
Yeah, I think when Apple did it from the 3 to the 4 as well, they stated that. I think they said basically like if they were to make it removable, it would have to be thicker or worse or something like that. I think it's probably just cheaper to do. Not sure.
Yeah, probably. Like, well, but if that's the case, then how come all like entry level phones throw removable batteries?
That's
the thing,
I
right?
don't know. Yeah, I would say though that one of like an interesting way to look at it as now is, would you ever replace the battery in your smartphone now?
Now?
Now, like a 2019, 18 phone, would you replace the battery in? Have you needed to replace the battery in?
I haven't, no.
No, not really.
So I think it's really nice, but I wonder who's going to take advantage of it because batteries have gotten bigger and better, less prone to expanding. So I don't know who would take advantage of it.
I think it's just people that use their phones all the time and just have a spare battery in case one of them goes flat. Swap them over.
No, like I can see in terms of like a road trip, it would be great, but then you probably already have a battery pack if that's a concern for you currently. So, I mean, a battery is much lighter than a battery pack, sure, and it's going to get you up and running much quicker. But still, I don't know. I think we've kind of gone past the point where people actually are realistically swapping out batteries in their phones these days.
Yeah, well, I've seen people with these massive cases on their phones that are like 4,000, 5,000.
Yeah, those look so unwieldy. Like, I wouldn't want to drop that.
And well, here's the thing, though. I mean, you got to make a compromise because if you listen to what the corporations want you to think, what the corporations want you to think is like, well, you can either have it be slim and have horrible battery life, or have it be hella thick and have amazing battery life. There's apparently, according to them, there's no in between. That's what they've always told.
Is this where you're going to tell me, but actually?
But actually, there are phones out. Okay, so now I'll give you an example because I dove into this world of batteries a while ago, and there's a manufacturer that makes these insanely high capacity phones, and they're like $100 to $150. They're called Blue, BLU, and their top of the line phone right now. First of all, their stuff is all Android, and it's all unlocked. And their top of the line, I think, in terms of battery life, like over 5,000 milliamp, is something called the Life One X3.
Oh yes, 5,000 milliamp. Remember name.
It's great. It's called the Life One X3, and this thing is so thin. It's the thinnest thing I've ever seen in my life. And after seeing that, and that's a new phone. After seeing that, I'm like, oh, well, so this is just a bunch of lies, isn't it? Just none of that's true. They've made, I'll link in chat in a second, but they made phones that are 5,000 milliamps, fairly inexpensive from that perspective. I think this phone goes for less than $200 and has an incredible battery life. So it's like, what's actually going on?
Oh, they just kind of is it just like a very big phone and the battery itself is very flat but large?
There you go. That's where it is. That's the page. I just sent you the link.
The Life One X3. I mean,
yeah, it's thin. It is actually thin. It doesn't have any bulge. It doesn't have anything odd about it at all.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad, but it looks very Chinese.
Well, yeah. And then on the opposite end of that, there's that Energizer phone, the 18,000 milliamp hour one that's like 2 inches thick.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
That's when you just take everything to the extreme.
Dude, I would buy that though.
No.
It's one of those novelty things, isn't it? Just to have it.
Speaking of that, yeah, I know some people actually, because I personally don't care about gimmicks and phones or novelty things, but I know some people will genuinely buy a phone because it's got something that no other phones have, i.e. like a FLIR camera built in. Okay, I know people really like that. So, I mean, that could work. You know, you have a super niche gimmick, doesn't cost you much, but no one else has it. You could sell a bunch of phones.
It's funny you bring that up because there was a phone, I think that was released last year by the camera company Red. I think it was called like,
yeah.
hydrogen.
It didn't go out well though.
And yeah, that phone was all about like, oh, it was based on the camera. Everything was about, oh, this camera is, I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now. It's got, oh my God. Okay, just listen to this. Signature features revolve around imaging, including a 3D display called 4View that uses diffractive backlighting to create depth effects, dual front and rear cameras that can take pictures of film, video in the company's proprietary 3D format, as well as standard 3D, SPF, 2D, and devices that allowed it to be integrated into their actual 3D 8K cameras as a viewfinder. It was also made of Kevlar.
And then it just ended up being not that great.
Yeah, dude, it was. I'm reading. So these are the reviews, right? The image quality was being described as analog film, showing realistic color reproduction as opposed to from like the Pixel 3 and the XS. Oh, this thing is old. But struggled in low light, as well as medium to low light video, which it also struggled in. Generally, people ended up looking very goofy, with the people appearing as paper cutouts on top of whatever was behind them. Also, the tech it was using was ancient. It was older Snapdragon 835s over the newer 845s.
That's a bit awkward, isn't it?
I don't get it. It's like, it seems entirely based on gimmicks. And when you base something entirely on gimmicks like that, the only thing you can really hope for is that like initial burst of people that are like, oh, it's cool. And those are the people that buy anything before the reviews come out.
Oh, yeah. I don't mean gimmicks like the phone's only point is the gimmick. I mean, like, it's a good phone and it has an interesting gimmick. Right. You know, something like it's as good to compete with the current S10, iPhone 11, etc. But it displays a tiny hologram or something, you know?
Are you talking about that? Did you ever see that Mozilla Seabird concept phone?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. So hang on. I'll get you a link for this. This thing was, oh God, I can't even put it into words. So it was a concept phone. And I think it was released maybe 10 years ago, something like that. Basically, what it would do is it would allow you to be the ultimate gimmick phone. So it had 3D touch. It could shoot a hologram projector out of the top of it. You could remove a little remote that could attach it, and you could control it remotely from there. It was absolutely insane. And on top of all that, it was, from what I can understand, God, I'm trying to think. Like at one point, it was supposed to be a phone, but not from Mozilla, from like somebody else. And then it just never came from anything. But it could project out a keyboard. It could shoot out a keyboard.
Oh, yeah. I remember Nokia demoing something.
It could project out a keyboard and you could type on it just from the projection alone. And I'm like, well, that's cool. And it even had like an IR touchpad area, like, you know, like a little laptop touchpad. There's a concept video of it online if you look it up. But it was a really cool phone. And everybody thought 10 years ago, oh, we're going to have projectors shooting out of our phones and having like, oh, remote control phones that for some reason, why would you want to remotely control your phone with a remote that's like 5 inches away from it? I don't know. But that was the idea. No, we don't have anything like that now.
No, but I have seen some Chinese smartphones doing that projector thing. And they're advertising it as like, did you go into a boardroom and forget your projector? Well, good news, you have your smartphone. And they have the smartphone on like a pile of books and projecting this horrible 720p at best image. And it's like even in the advertising, it's very faded out and looking, you know, barely passable for an image. And then there's like the pictures, everyone's shocked and like, wow, amazing projector phone.
Wow, amazing.
So,
imagine that. I posted a little bit of a sketch in there, give you an idea. But no, if you really think about where phones are right now in terms of like ingenuity and like where they are in terms of doing things that nothing else can do. And by the way, crazy thing about this phone, it was talking about wireless charging before wireless charging was even a thing. So I sent you over the features there.
Nice.
It had wireless charging and it had like dual projectors and like 2 cameras on the front and one of the, like some of the things it was talking about, like we do have today.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it was a cool little thing. And to be honest with you, if this came out today for like $300-400, I'd probably buy it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't look that bad either. I mean, it looks bad, but it doesn't look that bad. It looks like don't tell me that word hit spot is. Oh no, that's a watermark. Okay.
That's the company that made it.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's not stick around too long on phones because we'll get bogged down forever. Did you own a PSP at any point, Frick?
I did. I own the PSP 2000 and the PSP 3000.
Did you ever think, I wish I had Windows on my PSP?
Oh God. Well, I can't say that ever occurred to me. No.
So, do you, by any chance, remember? Like, very interestingly enough, you brought this up before. There's I don't know if it's a Chinese company, but there's a very popular miniature Windows laptop in China to play games, and it's actually pretty good and it's very low priced.
Chunk of the XPD win.
Yes, exactly that.
Yes.
So people in, some markets are very upset, I want to say, with the Alienware concept UFO, which looks like a PSP, but has Windows on it, which is pretty much what that thing you were mentioning before is. And they're claiming that this is the first time this has ever been done, first of its kind, revolutionary, blah, 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 blah. And the problem is, by itself, it doesn't look that big, right? But you get some perspective of someone holding it, and it's quickly becomes apparent that it is a thick, chunky boy. It has an 8-inch display, and then about another, 3 to 4 inches of controllers on either side, and it looks like quite a thick switch.
Screen is 8 inches thick as well.
Yeah, so it's like holding a 10 keyless keyboard, about that big. Hopefully not that heavy, but it's going to support Windows things. It's running Windows, x86 Windows. And
dude, NVIDIA already released something called the Shield that is this exactly. And
the Shield runs Android as far as I'm aware. So the big thing about this is it's x86 runs Windows.
Yeah, I think the Shield you stream games from your desktop to the Shield itself, whereas this runs the games, like everything's on it.
Probably that too. That's definitely actually it. This UFO, can't believe they called it that, but this UFO is also supposed to take advantage of that, or they mentioned that you could also stream games from, the very well-received Google Stadia or the Microsoft Project xCloud that's coming up, or I suppose Steam streaming or NVIDIA streaming to this and play on this.
So it could be a Steam link as well then?
Yeah, so you can get all the disadvantages of having a Switch, but none of the advantages of having Nintendo games to play.
But it looks so cool.
It doesn't. I'm sorry. So cool. I mean, it looks
Describe
okay.
the way this looks, Alex. Describe the delicious architecture that this is.
Okay, if I'm completely honest, what I think it looks like a sci-fi medical device from the future. Like if someone now were to make a medical device for the year 2050, that's what it looks like.
Oh my God, yeah, that's pretty right. Yeah, it's got sharp edges in all the right corners, and yes.
Speaking of which, that'll actually be interesting. I didn't think about that. Yeah, there's 2 sharp corners where your palms would go into, and I remember the Nintendo DS, that square one. I think it was the DS. My fingers, 2 of my fingers, would fall asleep after a while because it pushed into my palm and would cut blood flow to my fingers.
Oh my God.
So I hope that doesn't do this. I'm sure they've tested it, but I was also sure that Nintendo tested that. So
Nintendo's got an interesting. The same thing sort of happened with the Game Boy Advance SP. It was a revision of the Game Boy Advance, and what ended up happening is, well, believe it or not, when it was shaped like a square, like a perfect square.
Sorry, I didn't mean the DS. I meant the SP. That's the exact thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
When I held that, in my palm, my fingers, like my lower 2 fingers, would go numb. It was not fun.
And it's not just that, but the shoulder buttons were awful.
Yeah, they weren't the best to activate. I found the just the normal Game Boy Advance much better.
Yeah. So I mean, there were a lot of mistakes Nintendo made. Don't you worry about that. No, not just that, dude. Did you see the new controller that they announced for the Nintendo Switch?
I did not actually. Is it like a PlayStation/Xbox looking controller?
You want to talk about the most uncomfortable controller of all time? It's called the Dragon Quest Slime controller.
Oh, no. Is it really?
That's what. And look at this thing. Look at this thing, and tell me that would be comfortable to hold for any amount of time.
That is so cute.
It looks like the turd emoji, but blue.
What is it? What are you seeing, Alex? Tell them what you're seeing there.
Oh, so it's like a raindrop, but the underside of it is a controller. This looks like, you know, those gimmicky things you'd see from the early 90s? Wow.
It looks so unwieldy to hold. I can't even imagine.
I think this is totally from some game.
It's from Dragon Quest.
Oh, it's Dragon. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's
That
called. The
explains
Dragon
the
Quest
name.
Slime. That's what it's called.
Wow. Okay.
So I mean, when it comes to making odd and definitely uncomfortable controllers, trust me, they're still being released.
That's terrible.
Mm.
That comes across as just a novelty thing. Like, I don't think anyone's actually going to be using that to control their Switch.
Never know. Christmas morning, some kid gets this game and a copy of Dragon Quest. He doesn't really have a choice, does he?
Mom, it hurts, but I want to play Dragon Quest.
It burns. No, what do you think the most uncomfortable video game controller of all time is?
That.
You think
honestly,
so? This thing?
That looks horrible.
I mean, I would argue the N64.
Oh, what about, is that the one with the joystick in the middle?
Yeah, it's the one with the joystick in the middle and like 3 handles on it.
Yeah, how are you supposed to use that? I've never used one before.
Yeah, I recently found out you're not supposed to hold it. Okay, so imagine the handles are numbered, right? 1 is far left, 2 is the middle, and then 3 is the far right. You're supposed to hold it from 2 to 3. That's how you're supposed to hold it, not 1 to 3, as I did. So one hand's supposed to be on the middle controller, and the other one's supposed to be on the far right controller. You're never supposed to hold the far left.
Why is it there? That's really weird.
This is strange, isn't it?
That's just strange.
No, and it's one of those things that, I guess, once again, it was Nintendo who made it, and they just made the Super Nintendo controller before this, which was amazing. It was a fantastically well-designed controller. And then they made this, and then guess what they followed it up with, and Alex?
What?
The GameCube controller.
I haven't seen that, actually.
Oh, well, it's pretty comfortable.
Made the demons back.
Your demons came back for a second.
First from hell.
Oh, I've seen the GameCube controller. That doesn't look so bad.
It's actually very comfortable. It's similar to the Dreamcast controller. And then from there, they made the Wii. It seems like Nintendo has this record of having a really good controller one generation, and then a really horrible one the next one, and then a really good one, and then it just goes flip-flops back and forth.
The Wii wasn't bad, in my opinion. I actually liked it. It doesn't look like it's going to be comfortable or good to hold. And then you start using it, then you completely forget about the fact that it's a rectangle and that it shouldn't be comfortable.
Well, it was also due to the fact that thing had so many different attachments to it. You could get like a crossbow attachment for it at one point.
A wheel attachment. And
you get a wheel attachment.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it was good. And it worked. That was actually one of their most successful games was Mario Kart, which was bundled with a Wii wheel attachment. The wheel. There was a controller that came out a little after that, the Wii U controller, which is, my God.
Yes. Isn't that quite a chunky boy?
It's a horrible boy. I think the funny thing is that I don't understand why it had to be so large, because if you look at the size of this thing, right, it looks like it's big enough to be the console. But there's a separate console.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Wii U controller. Yeah. It just looks kind of like a knockoff Xbox controller.
It's this giant rectangle, and I mean giant rectangle with a screen in the middle of it, and all the buttons
the Wii U itself. Right.
Yeah. So
the Wii U also had like a Pro controller, which looked like an Xbox/PlayStation controller.
was good. Good. And you know who hasn't changed out the controller designs at all is Sony. That PlayStation controller is exactly that. They're doing it right.
Well, it's not exactly the same.
It's a bit bigger.
It's bigger, but it's very similar. And honestly, the PlayStation controller is my favorite for design. But
yeah,
I honestly think it's based on demographics almost, because Xbox is a lot more popular in the West, especially US, and the controllers are bigger. And PlayStation's more popular in the East and Japan, and the controllers are smaller. I don't think that's a coincidence.
No, it probably isn't.
Like, I'm not saying that it's popular because the controller's smaller. I'm saying because it's popular, I think they try and cater their controller to be towards a smaller palm size.
There was a controller company here that exclusively, and I'm not making this up, for the American market made it was a company called Nyko, and they made controllers that I think you could still buy these, maybe. They made controllers that would have a fan built into them to get rid of all the sweat on your hands.
Ooh, that's pretty.
They were called Nyko Airflow controllers, and I think they're only sold in the US, which says something. I don't think I like what it says, but it says something.
Have you ever had sweaty palms?
I mean, I get
Your
sweaty
knees
palms,
being heavy?
never to the point where I need a fan inside of my controller. No.
I've seen the ones with like also keyboards that have little fans on them to cool down your extreme gaming moments. It's like,
that's right. Yeah. There was one. I think it was either Corsair, or maybe some keyboard off AliExpress, where it would have little USB ports on one side of the keyboard and then on the other side of the keyboard, and you could plug these little cute little fans on each side of it to cool.
I've seen that. Yeah,
that's great.
So do you know what else is absolutely great? A robot dog.
This is great. Yeah, go on.
How many robot dogs have come through in terms of not just CES, but like announced? This stuff has been going on since the early 2000s. You know,
no, you're right. There was
dog companion over and over and over again. And thank God for the first time, this one has hair, because they all look like cyber plastic dogs.
Oh, God.
This one is trying to imitate, I don't want to say a real dog, but it looks like a plush dog. It's got kind of those plastic glass eyes, hair/fur over it. It looks quite realistic. Well, plush realistic. And it's supposed to be a robot companion, as they all are. It's called Tombot, I believe. It's a snoring Labrador robot puppy. And a lot of people really like it.
It's one of those things you got to have it, because you know who's been leading the charge on robot dogs was Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Sony had.
Oh, it's Sony. I thought it was Honda. Oh, no. They just do robots in general, but yeah.
So they released a robot dog last year called the Ivo.
Yeah, but this one looks a bit realistic than that.
It's a freakish looking thing. Well, here's the thing. It costs $3,000.
Here's the thing with this. It costs $450 for like the get one now price. But if you buy one when they're actually producing them and they're released, it's going to be $400. I don't know why it's $50 cheaper if you wait. But
high demand, I think, maybe.
It has, I think, up to 50 motors that can control different limbs, can wag its tail, bob its head, etc., etc. So it's got 50 sensors and 10 different motors. Can move its eyebrows, nose, etc. It can detect how vigorously you're petting the dog, so please do not shake baby too hard. Yeah, it's just meant to be a robot puppy companion. And I think it's pretty cool. At least it's not $3,000. You know, $500 is expensive, but it's getting much more closer to realistically what someone might pay for this. I think once you get into like the $200 range, people would be much more willing to adopt this kind of stuff.
I'm looking at a video of it right now to see just how this thing would react. And this thing, it's a therapy dog, first of all. because the only thing that they're using it for is like in like a senior living home or something. But the way that this thing moves, I'll post it in chat. The way that this thing moves is almost like shockingly real. Like it looks pretty realistic.
That's
hang
only
on.
10 motors. That's pretty good.
Dude, the way it moves its head and the way like when you scratch on its ears, it moves in a certain way. Like it's actually very impressive for $400, no less. This thing moves better than that $3,000 Sony dog.
Amazing.
Which is nuts. Like, oh my God. No, so I think from a therapy aspect, this is really, really cool. And I like it just based on that. But then you go into like, I mean, there's going to be a lot of easy bake oven type kids that are going to go for something like this. Like you can't have a dog, but if you can have this. There you go.
Oh, at least, I don't know. If you get this for Christmas, it's not super cruel if the kid loses interest in it, I guess. Also,
I found this out a while ago. Apparently, getting somebody a dog is like the worst present you can get them. So don't do that. But this is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
What about a kitten?
Hello, cat. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Just talking about pets, and then a cat walks in the door.
Hi.
So, Kat, this is right up your alley. Actually, this will be right up Chris's alley, except he's not here.
Okay.
So, you know the Impossible Burger?
Yeah, it's the vegetarian burger from Burger King, right?
No, but close enough. So it is Impossible Foods plant-based beef alternative patty.
Yeah, but I thought, don't they sell it at Burger King?
Yeah,
they do. It's licensed.
Yeah, it's licensed. So Impossible's the brand, and then
Oh,
anyway,
okay. All right.
they are making a Impossible pork. It's called pig-free pork. Which
why?
For vegetarians.
Same reason the beef one exists.
Yeah.
So,
but like, what's so special about it? How is it different from the stuff you can buy at the grocery store?
Well, it tastes like
Morningstar
pork.
or whatever. Yeah, but I've had the vegetarian chicken nuggets and they taste like chicken nuggets.
Well, maybe because they're going to tap into the pork market.
Give me some Impossible bacon.
I have Impossible bacon. It's called turkey bacon.
No, that's stuff's gross.
That's still
turkey
meat.
Bacon, I don't care what anyone says. Turkey bacon is one of the most disgusting things I've ever had in my life.
It's so gross.
So the Impossible pork will launch as a Impossible sausage.
Okay, I was gonna ask, like, what form of pork? Like, are we talking pork chop, pork loin, pork whatever?
Everything.
But
everything. But we're getting the Impossible sausage sliding into the new Burger King partnership.
Impossible sausage. All right.
And it's going to come also with a Impossible croissant, which...
croissant.
It's a croissant and sandwich.
Yeah, so it's like a breakfast.
The biggest issue is that Burger King is going to be, selling these, so they're going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Apparently they're not that bad. I think Review Bra did a video on them, and he said they weren't that bad.
They're not that bad, but Burger King messes everything up.
Burger King's gross. Except, I mean, I'll eat their chicken nuggets just because it's like fried, but I will not.
Their onion rings are even awful.
Yeah, they used to be good.
Their French fries are okay, but it's hard to like have
their French
fries.
Are horrible.
I said that's why I said they're okay.
Ooh.
You got to think about it like this, right? If you're the type of person that cares so much about health and cares so much about like watching what you eat, why the hell are you going to Burger King in the first place?
No, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's a health thing necessarily.
I think it's more like, I don't know, vegetarian stuff. Vegetarians aren't necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them are, but some of them aren't. But like, it's not like, I don't know. My mom's a vegetarian, supposedly. But
supposedly, it depends on the day. Depends on
no, because if she goes to certain restaurants, she'll eat a cheeseburger because they have good cheeseburgers. And I'm like, Mom, you're not really vegetarian. Then you're lying to yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, you can also you don't have to be hard and fast. I suppose vegetarian. You could try and avoid it, and if it's actually decent and is better for the environment, then sure.
I like cheese too much.
I want to know: is it cheaper to make?
Oh, that's vegan. Never mind.
Is it cheaper to make a burger out of plants than it is to make one out of cow?
I don't think so. Not
I
at the
think
moment.
it is.
What's
It's getting there.
God. Moxie's all over me.
I think
haven't been
it
home all
can
day.
be, but I think because of the like sort of supply and demand and the fact that we have a very big supply of cows.
Cows are still really expensive though.
Yeah, but I think if like we ramped up production of these impossible things a lot more, the price would come down. But I think also ramping it up then brings into the question of how much would the soy farming damage the environment as well.
Oh, you're right.
balance.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Isn't
look,
soy bad for you though? Like a lot of it?
Yeah, water is also bad for you.
I know everything's bad for you these days, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, I guess just have soy as much as you'd have meat and then it wouldn't be bad for you.
You know what's not
it's a
bad for
bean.
you? Petting cats.
It depends.
What if you're
Don't mess-
allergic to cats?
What happens if
Well,
that cat is a lion?
I fed a lion before. And a tiger.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
I just thought you should
This
know.
is brilliant because I forgot. Now that you're on the podcast, we can finally do this. Kat,
What?
congratulations.
Why? Stop it.
Oh no!
Thank you.
I'm glad you
Can we
could
just
get
leave- Can we
divorced.
just? Oh god, I was gonna say, can we just leave it at congratulations?
No. Anyway,
Wow.
moving
Yeah.
on because that wasn't that important anyway.
No, it wasn't. You just wanted to mention it on the podcast.
Yes. So, Caitlin,
What?
do you own a PS5 or Xbox or Wii or whatever that consoles?
I have.
No one owns a PS5.
Okay, I'll tell you the consoles I have. I have Xbox
Let
One.
me just redact
I
that
have-
whole intro.
I have a Switch. I have a GameCube and a PlayStation 2 and a Sega Genesis.
Sega Genesis.
And a PSP. I have a PSP too.
Okay.
There you go.
So, how excited are you knowing that the PS5 is going to come with NVMe storage as standard?
Not that excited. Didn't we discuss this like the last podcast that was going to be the new standard?
Think about the streaming.
Last time it was
But I don't stream.
rumors.
I
Now it's
stream from
confirmed.
my not my PS4, my PC.
Oh, not that
Oh,
kind of
I-
streaming. The texture streaming.
Oh, I thought you meant like.
Yeah,
You know,
so
the thing that
basically,
everybody knows about and is a massive marketing point that I'm sure will not go by the heads of anybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
so essentially the PS5 is confirmed to have NVMe storage as
Yeah,
standard.
we
is not-
talked about it with the Xbox, the new Xbox,
Yeah, it was a rumor.
and then I was like, yeah, it's probably gonna be like $500 now. They're gonna raise the price, and then I was right.
Yeah. That's also 2020 award for the worst intro to this topic goes to me.
It's still early, okay? So it's still early in the year. You got
I don't
time.
think it's going to boost up the price that much, though, because like it's not like flash storage is that expensive. If anything, it's the cheapest it's ever been.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is they want to make money. They're marketing these new consoles as to be close to a PC. So it's like, cool, you can spend $1,000 on this PC or whatever, but you get this thing that's $500 that has close to the same performance. That's what they're marketing towards.
Oh, it's definitely going to be $500. I don't. It's going to
Yeah.
be $450 or $500 at least.
yeah.
It's going to be $450 to $550.
But that's what they're like marketing these things for, is the people that want to, I mean, PC's still going to be better. Sorry, PC Master Race for life. But yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
What I will find very interesting and what I do like about consoles adopting things is that it gets shoved into the mainstream appeal, especially when they do marketing around it. So if they push marketing very hard look at these 3 gigabyte a second, obviously sequential reads and writes you can get from our PS5, look how great it is, etc. People are suddenly going to start caring a lot more about SSDs and speed. And I think it might have a knock-on effect in terms of PC NVMe SSDs becoming more in demand, and maybe manufacturers actually putting a lot more R&D into it, getting
Maybe.
basically a knock-on effect of us, people who use PCs, benefiting from this.
Trickle down effect and all that. It makes sense.
Yeah, Or the other negative could be that Sony's going to be snatching up basically every controller from Samsung ever, and prices go through the roof.
Oof. Well, there's got to be other controllers out there, right? I mean, who's the?
Yeah.
Not the only one.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not.
They could go to the people that do.
But I think no, frick. It's a bit old.
OCZ, you know that new OCZ?
Frick, stop.
The latest on the scene. I just got their new OCZ.
Frick. Rip OCZ. Even the DDR2 memory was good, and then it was bad. It's interesting how Mushkin and OCZ were amazing in the DDR2 era, and DDR3 they just fell on their face.
Such is life. Sony, I mean, dude, okay, there's two. There's like Samsung and Intel. And Intel, I mean, their stuff for NVMe is actually, it's not better than Samsung's. Like Samsung's NVMe SSDs still beat Intel's, if I recall correctly.
Well, actually, very coincidentally, Samsung is teasing a 980 Pro. So that's based on PCIe Gen 4, and it can hit read sequential speeds of 6.5 gigabytes a second with 5 gigabytes a second writes. Sequential, again, they are coming in flavors apparently of 250, 500, and 1 terabyte, which is kind of disappointing in a way because that's what they currently are offering. I would love to see them kind of step up one notch, but I've got a feeling that they're only changing really the controller on this. I would love to see the small read writes as well. But yeah, we're seeing a lot more Gen 4, PCIe 4 rather, SSDs come out now, which is nice as well. And it will be interesting to see if that's on the PS4. Not this one specifically, obviously, but I mean, if they're going to, PS5, if they're going to use all these numbers.
I know.
All two of them.
Yeah, right? There's so many numbers.
A blur. No, the PS4, PS5, this Gen 4, this Gen 3. It's numbers. Too many numbers.
Yeah, it gets confusing. All right, I'll give you that.
Anyway, Frick. Moving on. I believe you had something interesting to talk about. A piano.
Yes, it's the Roland. So that new Roland piano that they just announced at CES. This thing, I've never seen anything
I
want
to see this.
So it's in the dock there. This thing is like the coolest piano I've ever seen in my life. So it's called the GPX F1 Facet electronic grand piano, and it's got this. The way that it's designed makes it seem like it's sort of floating above itself whenever you play.
Oh wow!
It is probably one of the most compelling things I've ever seen in my life. And what's interesting is it's got like a screen built into it.
Is it the size of a regular piano?
Yeah. It looks like
which piano? Grand piano size?
Yeah.
I think I'm looking at the video of it. It looks like it is, roughly the size of a regular grand piano.
Wow, it's pretty big.
Just about. But no, man, this thing looks
kind of cool.
So dope.
But what's the point of having it be that size when it doesn't need to be that size if it's electronic? I don't get it.
Yeah, well, I guess that the design stuff.
I don't know. I just think it's kind of weird. But that's just.
Have you seen the product? It's It's very.
I'm looking at it right now. It looks really cool, but.
It's edgy.
Yeah, it's very modern and sleek looking.
Who would buy this?
Rich people.
All the nerds.
Rich people who play the piano.
It looks dope. I would get this and I don't even play piano. It's just one of those things that you have around your house.
It's a like conversation piece.
It's an art.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
I don't know if I like it.
Really?
I don't think I do.
You know what? I don't think they care if you like it.
No, because
they're still making it.
Dude, it's Roland.
How much is it?
Oh,
How much does it cost?
Well, the fact that it doesn't look
Roland and it's a grand piano.
Okay.
Right? Which is the coolest thing they ever made.
I'm gonna say
it is. Wait, never mind. I don't know.
Is it gonna be like Steinway prices?
I don't think it's gonna be a Steinway. That's nuts. There's no way.
Steinways are like 50K, 100K, 200K.
Looking at the price right now. Okay, here we go. Oh, $1,000.
Oh, actually, that's very reasonable.
Okay.
No way.
That's not. I hope this is right, but yeah, there you go. $1,000.
Oh, so it's going to be called the Facet, by the way.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Interesting.
I am going to double check your. Yeah.
Yeah, you're wrong.
$1,000.
No,
Yeah,
He's
you're-
right.
no,
No,
the
he's right.
GPX one has no current plans to be released to the public.
Looking at the link, this is $1,000. Oh,
Yeah, it's a different keyboard.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
deceptive.
They goofed
That's
me.
a traditional Roland-looking keyboard.
They goofed me.
They goofed me.
So you
It
can't
has
get
an
it in the car.
Yeah, it has an integrated Android-powered screen.
I think the fact that
just
I
mean
can't get it makes me
tablet.
want to buy it even more.
Wow.
Pretty good marketing,
Interesting.
Roland. Thank you.
I don't know if I like it. I'm not a piano person though, so
Speaking of things that nobody likes, tell us about XFX, Alex.
except
Do I have to?
Yeah.
Okay. So XFX just spilled the beans on AMD's Radeon RX 5600 XT. So we have the 5700 XT and we have rumors of the 5500 XT, but here is the middleman 5600 XT. And basically, it looks like a cut down 5700 XT. XFX kind of leaked a page with this a bit too early than they should have. And yeah, we've just kind of got the specs from it. So it's going to have very much the same sort of stream processors, memory size, not speed, but sort of capacity as the 5700. But everything's going to be downclocked. So lower boost clock, lower game clock, slower memory, and less bus bandwidth as well. So
Good or bad?
no one knows the price, as far as I'm aware. The 5700 is supposed to be going for $350 US. And this one, I suppose at like $250 would be a great deal. At $300 it would be average. But yeah, it all depends on the price, really. Some people are anticipating it to debut for $300. At that point, it really kind of gets to just spend $50 more and get a much better not much better GPU, but you're getting a more unlocked GPU in terms of memory bus bandwidth, especially. Are you going from 192-bit to 256-bit? But if it can target like $270 I think it could be pretty good value for money.
Yeah, I
Nice.
mean, you got to think about it like this, right? I'm just thinking about it from like a third-party perspective. Thinking about performance-wise, I mean, all the top-performing third-party cards in like the past couple of years, have any of them been XFX? Like, what do they
No.
do that's like even
They
remotely
make-
good in terms of like
Yeah,
cooling?
they make memes, honestly. They're calling this thing, no, they're calling it the Thick 2, and then they like absolutely denied that they had any idea that the Thick THICC wasn't, they knew that was an internet meme thing. They're like, oh,
Wait,
it
that's
just-
an internet meme? I'm just kidding.
Of internet memes, those new things that come up every single day.
What's a meme?
Yeah, they just they basically said, oh, we like the aesthetic of two C's. It's like, okay, sure.
Yeah, sure.
And it was also not a good GPU at all. I think it was worse than reference, and they got in some hot water for it. So yeah,
Imagine that.
there's something I really want to talk about, Frick.
Mm.
The Y brush.
God.
Why brush?
The Y brush.
Oh God.
Why?
So brush.
Why? Why is it a why brush?
Yeah. So essentially, have you ever been, it's late, you don't feel like brushing your teeth, you just want to go to bed? Have you ever had that feeling?
Absolutely not, dude. That's so
Yeah.
gross. That's so gross.
No,
Yeah,
but then you,
I
you
mean,
brush your
I
teeth
feel-
anyway, but you're like, ugh, you don't feel like doing it, but you do it
I
anyway.
feel like everybody's had that feeling before, but it takes like
So
not that
The
long
Y
to brush
brush.
your teeth. So
is basically a gum guard with a bunch of bristles in it. that vibrate.
What?
So you put this gum guard in your mouth. The bristles go on your teeth. You turn it on and it goes. And then
Nice sound effect.
It cleans your
What does it do? Can you make that sound effect again? I missed it.
No.
Okay.
It cleans your teeth. You put it in your mouth as a gum guard, and all these bristles vibrate around your teeth and cleans your teeth. You do it
So
once for
it's
the
like
top and once for the
a
bottom.
toothbrush.
It's a lazy man's toothbrush because all the bristles are there on your teeth and you don't have to move anything around.
Watching the video
Okay.
for this right now, and it is the most unsettling thing I've ever seen in my life. So basically, this guy puts what looks like a pacifier type device in his mouth.
A gum
And then
guard, yeah.
Yeah, sucks on it for the better part of 15 seconds. And man, oh God, there's no way this cleans your teeth well. There's no way. He forgot to clean his tongue. Oh God. It's like he's never brushed his teeth
That's
before.
part of brushing your teeth is the tongue.
You're not gonna make something like this and then like miss 50% of your mouth. This is horrible.
Well, I mean, I think it's supposed to be used in conjunction with obviously flossing and rinsing your mouth out. But
dude, you still need another device to clean your tongue. So what's the point of it?
I would also argue though that rather this than there's genuinely some people that just don't even brush their teeth, or that like use a manual toothbrush and just do it super terribly. I think this is probably worse than doing it properly, but better than doing it badly.
At that point, just use mouthwash. Like if you're gonna care this much, this little ladder, mouthwash.
Right? Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that one right there.
So
Just get some Tic Tacs.
There's two issues
Just
with
get some Tic Tacs, the orange ones.
The Y brush. The two issues are that the bristles don't seem to be replaceable, but I think you can get a new module. They didn't comment on that though, like a new gum guard thingamajiggy.
How much does it cost?
They didn't say. They didn't
my
say how much the gum guard thingy costs, but it's $125 for this.
I'm not doing mods to my toothbrush. Okay, that's not happening.
No, hang on, which is actually cheap because a Sonic Hair toothbrush is $200. It's 200 Canadian, so that's like 150 US dollars.
Yeah, but there's like different ones you can get that are like cheaper than that.
Yeah, I mean, my toothbrush was like $30, but it's not like, hey, here's a demo. This thing costs $5,000. It's not like a completely unrealistic amount of money, like with those original, normal CES demos.
I'll give you that.
I just looked up. I just looked at the prices of the best electronic toothbrush out there. Apparently, it's called Gleam, and it's $25. So there you go.
Gleam?
Debunked.
Yeah, but is that a manual toothbrush though?
No, it's electric. It's 100% electric. It's got sonic vibration, an LED, and it works out of the box.
Oh.
Most of them work out of the box.
Yeah, well,
I would hope they work out of the
not
box.
this one apparently.
Just
That's pretty interesting, actually.
$5, get yourself a Gleam toothbrush. We're not sponsored by Gleam.
Nope.
At all. And they
I might have to buy one.
Back guarantee. What the hell? They have a 60-day money back guarantee. 60 days. Oh my
Let's
god.
get one.
That's pretty good.
Let's get
really
one and then
good.
we'll give our input next podcast
Oh my god.
if we like it or not.
I'm buying.
Yeah. Do you want to go through a few more things from CES?
See what we got.
So there is one. There is the neon. I don't know if you guys have seen the neon or the hype around neon.
No.
Okay, so
Dodge neon? No, I'm just kidding.
No, sadly, this is worse. So Samsung neon. So basically, they advertised it as sort of being an AI human assistant, like that Japanese one for the home assistant thing that was advertised
like the waifu
2 years ago. Yeah, like the waifu thing. So they advertised it as that, but as not but like as a procedurally generated image by a graphics card or something that was being the person you're seeing or the thing you're seeing, right? That is completely generated is what it was perceived to be, or AI like. That's not what it is. It's basically they got a bunch of actors to do a bunch of different facial movements and stuff like that, and then used sort of deep fake technology, AI technology, to change their eyebrows, eyes, expressions, all that kind of stuff to what they're saying. It works really well in English. Doesn't work that well in Mandarin or any other language, actually. But their idea for it wasn't so much a home companion or a Siri replacement or something like that, or Bixby or whatever they call it for Samsung, but more of a replacement for, yes, thank you, Siri, for activating. Sorry. More of a replacement for like fast food kiosks or hotel booking or booking your flight or checking into your flight. You know, those customer facing interactions. That's what they kind of intended
actively avoid those, but yes.
Yeah, it seems a bit strange. I know it's kind of been a letdown of CES because everyone thought it was going to be AI in terms of, hey, here's the Terminator T1000, but it was just someone on a screen. So, yeah, I mean, that's all there really is to say about Neon. It's not very interesting.
It's just kind of the evolution of what's going on next. You're going to have it to a point where if you can tell that it's an AI simulation, then it's already failed. Because my whole thing is,
it's a video of people being manipulated, like their, you know what I mean, like their their
facial expressions.
Thank you. Their facial expressions are being manipulated by this AI deepfake technology. So it is real people. What
it's like those VTuber things. You ever seen how they stream in Japan? Those little VTuber things where they have like a little avatar, and then that avatar maps however they're acting in real life, like their actual facial movements. It just converts them to this virtual avatar.
Oh, it's exactly the same concept in a weird way. But yeah, so it's like that. It's like Samsung's Western real world version of Kizuna Eye.
Oh, now you're talking. See, now if you had said that, I would have already been on board.
Except you can't buy one. You'll never be able to buy one. It's going to be behind desks, and it's going to not remember your conversation after you've finished.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It's basically, hey, let's see how we can replace people at McDonald's.
Yeah. Boy. Which, I mean, they already did that because they have those little stand-up kiosks to begin with.
They have those at Taco Bell, too.
But like, do you really
don't ask me how I know that. I don't need.
Do you need a human being? Because like, what, you press buttons, and I feel like having somebody there would just slow that down.
Yeah. Oh well. That's really all that we can glean from CES 2020 so far. It is currently ongoing, as far as I'm aware. I'm probably wrong because I'm wrong in a lot of things.
Yep.
Well, Intel announced a new their first ever graphics card.
Yes, I suppose that was kind of important.
Important, a little bit.
It's not that great, unsurprisingly. So they didn't demo the high-end model. It's a low-range model. It was running Warframe. It wasn't running it at 60 FPS. It wasn't running it maxed out. There's not much we can get from it. They haven't released many details beyond Warframe running at like 45 to 50 FPS on a GPU.
At 8K?
No, it looked like 1080p.
10K?
1080p.
Oh, okay. That's slightly less impressive.
I think it's mainly this is going to help their integrated solutions section with laptops. I think it's mainly just going to be around that. Hopefully this will actually make its way into the desktop sphere. But we have seen some demos before where they're like, hey, we're going to make a graphics card, and just end up never releasing it to the consumer market. We see demos, we see entry-level demos, and then that tech kind of disappears and makes its way into other things like laptop offerings or mobile device offerings.
Right. But I think having another competitor is so sorely needed at this point in time, dude. Like, we need somebody. Oh,
I am the big dumb. CES ended on January the 10th. It is now January the 12th. So,
oh no.
Yeah. And the big dumb.
The big
But yeah.
one.
Dude, more competition is always a good thing. Because like what? It's 2 people right now. That's not
Yeah.
competition. Technically, it's one
Yeah.
person.
Yeah,
The
but
other
is
one's
it really
catching up.
competition if their card sucks?
Yeah, I mean, it's too early. They kind of just basically, I feel like they had to get it out for CES 2020. They didn't reveal much details other than, hey, here it is in person. It's actually here, and it can do the games. And Warframe is
It can do the games.
very
It's pretty good.
non-demanding.
Look how it runs this demo of Half-Life 2 from 2004.
Yeah. So I've got a feeling that they're still really trying to work on it, and we'll have to find out in the future how far it gets. One thing I do want to mention before we close off is that Extreme Hardware is still doing the in-win giveaway, and they are giving away a 509 full tower chassis, which is pretty baller. I would suggest you go and enter that giveaway. Pretty good odds in that one, if we're honest. And you could walk away with a pretty nice in-win case. So yeah, do that. Do the thing. Get the case. Make yourself happy.
Do the thing. Get the case.
Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us for the first podcast season of 2020 for Extreme Hardware. Thank you, my effervescent Frick Frock, for joining. Kat, you were late.
I'm sorry.
And Andrew, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Andrew.
Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.